Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. Let's start with Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jai Gopi Janavallabha Jai Giravardhari Jai Gopi Janavallabha Jai Giravardhari Shodanandan Vraj Janaranjana Shodanandan Vraj Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Agyantimirnasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutle Samrupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Krishna Setam Krishna Chetan Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranmami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatu Brihascha Kirpa Sindhive Vicha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasti Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Napumrati Vachalam Pangum Hayate Grim Yat Kirpatam Vandashi Gurundin Taranam Paramandam Adam Shitanation Harium Tassat Narayan Namaskritya Naram Cheva Naruttamam Devim Sasvitvasam Tato Jamaduriyat Nasta Presha Abdireshu Nitam Bhagavad-Sevayā Bhagavati-Utam Shoghi Bhakti Bhavati Nistiki. Okay, so chapter 17. Last time we were talking about how Maharaj Parikshit, he wanted to keep the reputation of his ancestors, and he was looking to punish the miscreant who upset or who damaged the cow and the bull. But the cow and the bull, they were happy to tolerate the inflictions, thinking it as karmic reactions. So they didn't want to name anyone. They said, well, who knows why we're having this, it could be something that we've done in the past, some reaction. And we're talking about the power of devotion service, how it burns the seeds of all reactions, past and present, and purifies. And also abad dharma, eating meat to keep body and mind together. So these are kind of topics we were discussing last time. So let's continue on to verse 19 today and see where we go. Okay. So Kechid Vikalpa Vasana Ahur Atmanam Atmanaha Devam Anya Pre Karma Swabhavam Apre Prabhum. So Kechit, some of them, Vikalpa Vasana Aha, those who deny all kinds of duality, Ahu, declare Atmanam, own self, Atmanaha, of the self, Devam, superhuman, Anye, others, Apre, someone else, Karam, activity, Swabhavam, material nature, Apare, many others, Prabhum, authorities. So some of the philosophers who deny all sorts of duality declared that one's own self is responsible for his personal happiness and distress. So he's saying that we are in control of our happiness and distress. Others say that superhuman powers are responsible, while yet others say that activity is responsible, and the gross materialists maintain that nature is the ultimate cause. So Srila Prabhupada explains that as it referred to above, philosophers like Jaimini and his followers established that fruitive activity is the root cause of all distress and happiness, and that even if there is a superior authority, some superhuman powerful god or gods, he or they are also under the influence of fruitive activity, because they rewards result according to one's action. They say that action is not independent because action is performed by some performer. Therefore, the performer himself is the cause of his own happiness or distress. So in the Bhagavad-Gita 6.5, also it is confirmed that by one's mind, freed from material affection, one can deliver himself from the sufferings of material pangs. So one should not entangle oneself in matter by the mind's material affections. Thus one's own mind is one's friend or enemy in one's material happiness and distress. So atheistic, materialistic Sankhyates conclude that material nature is the cause of all causes. According to them, combination of material elements are the cause of material happiness and distress, and disintegration of matter is the cause of freedom from all material pangs. Gautam and Kannad find that atomic combination is the cause of everything, and impersonalists like Ashtavakar discover that the spiritual effulgence of Brahman is the cause of all causes. But in the Bhagavad-Gita, the Lord himself declares that he is the source of impersonal Brahman, and therefore he, the personality Godhead, is the ultimate cause of all causes. It is also confirmed in the Brahma Samhita that Lord Krishna is the ultimate cause of all causes. Yeah, so you have so many schools of thought, and each one believing that what they're saying is true. This is why Krishna has to come himself and then tell everyone that okay, you have all these philosophies going on, but the ultimate cause, the ultimate supreme personality Godhead is Krishna himself. This is why Krishna had to declare that look, I am God. He showed his Virat Roop and he proved it, I am God. And then he's given the philosophy So it's not like I am just another philosophy that you are giving and I'm just another school of thought. No. He said, I am God, everything emanates from me, I'm the source of everything, and this is the reality of it all. And Lord Brahma also confirms it in the Brahma Samhita chapter 5. So it says here that 19, there are different philosophers, they are seeing different stages of suffering, that or they see different stages are causing suffering. In conclusion, Krishna is the cause, Sarva Karan Karanam. So as a devotee, you always thank Krishna for everything, even though there may have been so many causes and aspects that it took to achieve a result. Even in the reversals, we see that Krishna knows best what lessons we need to learn. It's there for us to grow. So instead of all these different schools of thought, we surrender to Krishna. So Sarvadharma Pratajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, it says give up all these other religions and all these philosophies, just surrender to Krishna and he will take care of everything. Because he is the cause of all causes, Sarva Karan Karana. And that's what we learn from Bhagavad-Gita, that's what we learn from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Pratarkyad anirdeshyad iti keshav api nishchayaha atranurupam rajrishe vimarsh swamanishaya. So apratyad, beyond the power of reasoning, anirdeshyad, beyond the power of thinking, iti thus keshu, someone, api also, nishchaya, definitely concluded, atra herein, anu rupam, which of them is right, rajrishi or sage amongst the kings, vimarsha, judge yourself, swa by your own, minishya, power or intelligence. So there are also some thinkers who believe that no one can ascertain the cause of distress by argumentation, no know it by imagination, no express it by words. O sage amongst kings, judge for yourself by thinking over all this with your own intelligence. So the Vaishnavites, the devotees of the Lord, do believe, as above explained, that nothing can take place without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. That's true, but the Lord he sanctions good and bad. Now, if you really want it, he'll sanction bad as well. He is the Supreme Director. For he confirms in the Bhagavad-Gita 15:15 that he, as all-pervading Paramatma, stays in everyone's heart and keeps vigilance over all actions and witnesses all activities. The argument of the atheist that one cannot be punished for one's misdeeds unless proved before a qualified justice is refuted herein. For we accept the perpetual witness and constant companion of the living being. A living being may forget all that he might have done in his past or present, but one must know that in the same tree of the material body, the individual soul and the Supreme Soul as Paramatma are sitting like two birds. So Paramatma is not only the sanctioner, is the upadrishta as well. He is the observer. He is observing us, the soul. One of them, the living being, is enjoying the fruits of the tree, whereas the Supreme Being is there to witness the activities. And everything is recorded from time immemorial. Everything about us is recorded. Therefore, the Paramatma feature, the Supreme Soul, is actually the witness of all activities of the living being, and only by his direction can the living being remember or forget what he might have done in the past. He is therefore both the all-pervading impersonal Brahman and the localized Paramatma in everyone's heart. He is the knower of all past, present and future as well, and nothing can be concealed from him. The devotees know this truth, and therefore they discharge their duties sincerely. without being overly anxious for rewards. Besides that, one cannot estimate the Lord's reactions either by speculation or by scholarship. Why does he put some into difficulty and not others? So there is some people, we all born differently, we look different, we have different capacities, different intelligence. Everybody's different. Why? Because of our previous karma, of our past, that we are at the level where we are now. Some have done good and they got good position, some have done bad, they got bad position. That's why there's a difference in the conditioned state. So he is the supreme knower of the Vedic knowledge, and thus he is the factual Vedantist. At the same time, he is the compiler of the Vedanta. No one is independent of him, and everyone is engaged in his service in different ways. In the conditioned state, such services are rendered by the living being under the force of the material nature, whereas in the liberated state, the living being is helped by the spiritual nature in the voluntary loving service of the Lord. In the spiritual nature, that's all we're interested in, not interested in anything else. We're not interested in ourselves, gratification, anything like that. I just want to please Krishna. That is our only goal in our eternal existence. But whereas in the conditioned state or in the material world, we're only interested really to pleasing, what's good for me, what I like to do, what I'm interested in, right? And that is controlled by which mode we are dominated by. So whichever mode is dominant, that's the kind of things we would like to do. So we have only free will, everything else is controlled. So there is no incongruity or inability in his actions. All are on the path of the absolute truth. Bhishmadev correctly estimated the inconceivable actions of the Lord. The conclusion is therefore that the sufferings of the representative of religion and the representative of earth, which is the cow, and the representative of religion is bull. So we talk about their sufferings, why they're happening. As present before Maharaj Parikshit, were planned to prove that Maharaj Parikshit was the ideal executive head because he knew well how to give protection to the cows, the earth, and the Brahmanas' religious principles. The two pillars of spiritual advancement. So the cows and the Brahmanas, and which Brahmanas represent the religious principles, and the cows, or the earth represents the cows, and obviously the Brahmanas, religious principle represented by bull as well. The two pillars of spiritual advancement. So everyone is under the full control of the Lord. He is quite correct in his action when he desires something to be done by someone, irrespective of the consideration of the particular case. Maharaj Parikshit was thus put to test for his greatness. Now let's see how he solves it by his sagacious mind. So this is also a test for Maharaj Parikshit. And if you can add something, a devotee never gives up his devotional service under any circumstances. Karma can be from previous lives, even though we may be good in this life. So if you're suffering, and we are a really good person, that's what most people say, that I am a really good person, and at least in their own opinion, why am I suffering? So they might be a very good person, but the suffering is not necessarily coming from this life. It can come from any previous life. We have not been good in all our lives, otherwise we wouldn't still be here. So if we were good in every life, then we would need to come back. If we were totally purified, then we wouldn't be here. So at the time of initiation, time of Diksha, our Guru takes not all of our karma, he takes some of our karma, because if the Guru took all our karma, then we wouldn't be here. There would be no need to dish out any dosage or Krishna karma, because if the Guru just taken all our karma, then we'll just vanish, back to Godhead. We have nothing, nothing to learn. All the karma is gone. So the Guru takes, like some karma, and then, he instructs us how to purify ourselves further as we go along. So that's 20. And then go to 21. Suta avacha evam dharme parvtati sa samrat divaj sattamaha samahitena mansa vikeda parayashtatam. So Suta avacha, Suta Goswami said, evam, so dharme, the personality of religion, parvadati, thus having spoken, saha, he, or he, samrat, the emperor, Dvij Sattamaha, O best among the Brahmanas, Samahitena, with proper attention, Manasa, by the mind, Vikedaha, without any mistake, Priyachashta, counter replied, Tam, unto him. So Suta Goswami said, O best among the Brahmans, the emperor Parikshit, thus hearing the personality of religion speak, was fully satisfied, and without mistake or regret he gave his reply. So the statement of the bull who's been speaking so far, the personality of religion was full of philosophy and knowledge, and the king was satisfied, since he could not understand that the suffering bull was not an ordinary bull, right? Not an ordinary one. Unless one is perfectly conversant with the law of the Supreme Lord, one cannot speak such things touching philosophical truths. The emperor, being also an equal level of sagacity, replied to the point without doubts or mistakes. So let's see, 22. Raja uvacha dharmam parvishi dharmakya dharmo si vrish rupadrik yad adharam kritha sthanam suchaksyapi tad bhavet. So Raja uvacha, the king said, dharmam, religion, bravishi, as you speak, dharmagya, O one who knows the codes of religion, dharmaha, the personality of religion, asi, you are, vrish rupdrik, in the disguise of a bull, yat, whatever, adharam kritha, one who acts religiously, sthanam, place, suchakasya, of the identifier, api, also, that bhavet becomes. Now the king said, O you who are in the form of bull, you know the truth of religion, and you are speaking according to the principle that the destination intended for the perpetrator of religious acts is also intended for one who identifies the perpetrator. You are no other than the personality of religion. So he's been recognized, and devotee's conclusion is that no one is directly responsible for being a benefactor or mischief monger without the sanction of the Lord. Therefore, he does not consider anyone to be directly responsible for such action. But in both the cases, he takes it for granted that either benefit or loss is God sent, and thus it is his grace. In case of benefit, no one will deny that it is God sent. But in the case of a loss or reverses, one becomes doubtful about how the Lord can be so unkind to his devotee as to put him in great difficulty. So no one is directly responsible for being a benefactor or mischievous monger. So just coming back to the Guru or Diksha Guru, so when you've taken initiation and you've taken shelter of a Guru and you also have a mentor, so the person the mentor who's recommended you for Diksha, and then the Guru, spiritual master, has given you Diksha. Now, if you misbehave, if you break the regulations, not only do you get reaction, some of the reaction goes to the Guru and possibly to the mentor as well. So, because they have taken responsibility for you, they have sanctioned that yes, you are worthy of being initiated. So they have taken responsibility. So some of the reactions go in there. So no one is directly responsible for being benefactor. So you because they're saying that it's the fault of the guru that you're not really up to the level that you should be. So everybody gets a bit of the blame. Parents get the blame for their children's mischievousness. If the child is underage, the parents will get penalized. They might even be jailed, right? They definitely get a penalty for the misbehavior of the children. So someone is responsible for where we are now. Jesus Christ was seemingly put into such a great difficulty, being crucified by the ignorant, but he was never angry at the mischief mongers. That is the way of accepting a thing, either favorable or unfavorable. Thus, for a devotee, the identifies equally a sinner, like the mischief monger. By God's grace, the devotee tolerates all reverses. Maharaj Parikshit observed this, and therefore he could understand that the bull was no other than the personality of religion himself. In other words, a devotee has no sufferings at all, because so-called suffering is God's grace for a devotee who sees God in everything. Yeah, this is very interesting. The cow and bull never placed any complaint for the king for being tortured by the person of Kali, although everyone lodges such complaints before the state authorities. So they're not saying that Kali is to blame or this person is to blame, because they're saying that we must take responsibility as well for our condition. So, not all this blame is going on to Kali. So we cannot say this Kali is the perpetrator, is the blame, because we have to take some responsibility. So this is very magnanimous. We're not able to do something like this. So, this is only the scriptures can tell us these things. We would never even think of something like this. The extraordinary behavior of the bull made the king conclude that the bull was certainly the personality of religion, for no one else could understand the finer intricacies of the course of religion. So this is amazing. So 22. So basically just says here, Krishna knows how to open your eyes. And well, scriptures, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad-Gita, you can open our eyes. That don't just point finger at a person. You point one finger, 3 fingers are pointed back at you. So, we have to take, when things happen, we have to take some responsibility. Everyone has to take responsibility, not just one person. Atvadev mayaya nunam gati agochara chetaso vachasaschapi bhutanamiti nishchaya. So athva, alternatively, Deva, the Lord, Mayayaha, energies, Nunam, very little, Gati, movement, Agochara, inconceivable, Chetasaha, either by the mind, Vachasaha, by words, Cha, or Api, also, Bhutanam, of all living beings, Iti, thus, Nishchaya, concluded. Thus it is concluded that the Lord's energies are inconceivable. No one can estimate them by mental speculation or by word jugglery. So a question may be raised as to why a devotee should refrain from identifying an actor, although he knows definitely that the Lord is the ultimate doer of everything. Knowing the ultimate doer, one should not pose himself as ignorant of the actual performer. To answer this doubt, the reply is that the Lord is also not directly responsible, for everything is done by his deputed Maya Shakti or material energy. The material energy is always provoking doubts about the supreme authority of the Lord. The personality of religion knew perfectly well that nothing can take place without the sanction of the Supreme Lord, and still he was put into doubts by the deluding energy, and thus he refrained from mentioning the supreme cause. This doubtfulness was due to the contamination of both Kali and the material energy. The whole atmosphere of the age of Kali is magnified by the deluding energy, and the proportion of measurement is inexplicable. See, is there anything that makes it more clear? So, influence of Kali and material energy is always causes doubts. Doubt Krishna's expertise, even doubt existence of Krishna, doubt the process of devotional service, doubt the effects of devotional service. That is the nature of Kali. Doubts can be destroyed by knowledge. So you can make whatever you want of that. Kali has this atmosphere of deluding us, causing doubt in our mind, even about God. Like we question ourselves many times that is there really a God, or are we just imagining things? Is there really anyone there? Even though you find that God's hand is there, especially when you become a devotee, when you're chanting, God's hand is there with you, all the time, again and again. You see His arrangements, and yet from time to time, we can still doubt that. Hope I'm not imagining things or wasting my time when I could be having a lot of fun, and I'm just like believing in this philosophy and just following it. Other people may even think, you lost the plot, because they haven't even read the philosophy. At least we've read it. They haven't read the philosophy, and they think something gone wrong with this person. So what is the truth? The scriptures explain. So I just want to quickly just read this again. A question may be raised as to why a devotee should refrain from identifying an actor, although he knows definitely that the Lord is the ultimate doer of everything. Knowing the ultimate doer, one should not pose himself as ignorant of actual performer. To answer this doubt, the reply is that the Lord is also not directly responsible. So again, it's like even there's many people involved, and also the Maya Shakti is also involved, that causes doubts, as in who is the actual perpetrator, or is God the actual ultimate doer or not. So thank you so much, and just a little bit difficult topic, and we can ask more questions to the person who does the overview about this part. And so the overview is on the 1st of April with Dinabandhu Prabhu from Manchester. He's a psychiatrist, and he's a very good preacher, so please do join, and we'll learn from him. Okay, stop sharing. So, okay, wonderful. Right, we'll go to Pundikash Prabhu, see if you can make more sense of this, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Yeah, as you already said, this is very difficult topic, and there's so many things in this, but I picked only very few things, Prabhuji. I could not get many things into my mind. One is about the mentor and the guru. That's why Srila Prabhupada stress on this point that nobody try to become a guru or a mentor unless they are really qualified. If you see like Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj, he is not giving initiation yet, but there are so many devotees who aspire from him, and also Keshava Maharaj took a lot of time to become a sannyas, to take sannyas. He might have contemplated so much on that one before taking sannyas. And similarly, like Srila Prabhupada did a lot of effort before he actually does go to abroad. Like for 30 years, I think Prabhupada did a lot of sadhana before he spread this Krishna consciousness all over the world. So nobody can become a guru or a mentor even unless they're really qualified. because when you're qualified, then Krishna will definitely help you to find right person. In that case, you're not taking his sinful activities, but actually you're taking good person on board to get him to Krishna. And I mean, in Canto 6, when Indra lost his spiritual master Brihaspati, and Lord advised them to go to Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa was a Brahmin, but he is a demon as well, and asked him to become your spiritual master. There, Prabhupada mentioned it, that when somebody becomes a guru, they are not, I mean, they are taking sinful activity, your caste karma, but at the same time, they are utilizing their own good karma. So they are actually taking risk of reducing their own good karma for the sake of disciple. That's why they are very well qualified to identify right person to initiate, not that any person they'll take on board. That's why I think. And even in Iskcon, mentorship is really good process. We have to undergo that like Bhakti Shastri Guru Disciple course, after which you come to this real path of initiation. That's really nice, Prabhuji. And Krishna is not responsible for any of the suffering. Suffering is only because of one's own actions. Krishna just facilitate them, not that Krishna is creating suffering for anybody in this world. That's all, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. There's so much, but again, as you said, very difficult, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So, what would you say if someone said that, oh, I don't want to give my reactions, my sinful reactions to a guru, so I don't want to be initiated? What should they do? Oh, I need more purification. People say that as well, don't they?
I mean, and it doesn't mean that you run away from that. You try to reduce that, address that, not to run away. It is good that you don't want to give bad reactions to your guru, but at the same time, you work on your own bad practice so that you can be a good disciple of a guru. Not that you run away from the process, because process is defined according to scriptures. Process is there. Even Krishna showed that one should accept guru by accepting Sandeep Muni, and Lord Ram showed by accepting I forgot the name now again. So every and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also showed by accepting Ishwar Puri as his guru. So the process is very clear and very nice. Don't run away from it. You don't want to give bad reactions to guru. That's very nice, but at the same time, you try to work on it. And guru will be there. Guru is there to rectify you. You need not do on yourself. Guru will definitely make you. Only the two things, as my guru says, one should not be cunning and deceitful in duplicity in their nature. That's it, Prabhuji. If you are open to your guru, guru will rectify you.
Very good. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we have to take responsibility again. We have to take responsibility. We don't want a guru to get our reactions, at least in the future. Can't do anything about the past. But if we chant, nicely, then we can burn off those reactions anyway.
Yeah.
And then in the future as well, we make sure we don't do anything that will affect our guru. So we're not only responsible for ourselves, we're responsible for our spiritual master's well-being as well. Isn't
Yeah.
it? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Kiran Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Yes, not the easiest of topics to get our heads around, but this is what Krishna intended for us to look into. Because the world is full of mental speculators, scientists, philosophers who says they know what is wrong. They tell us why it's wrong, but only spirituality tells us how to deal with these difficulties. And if we focus and surrender to Krishna, he will show us how to deal with these whys. And getting bogged down in different alleged truths is not the same as having the definitive absolute truth of the Gita, the Bhagavatam, and the Shastras, which underpin our lives. That is the theology, the practice that we follow. And Parikshit, the ideal king, as was Yudhishthira, asked, searching questions. He didn't ask, he listened. He asked the cow, what has happened? Why are you in this predicament? The cow is the representation of earth and also religion. Never blames anybody, never complains, and is humble. And so that is the message for us as well. There are people who are duplicitous and create difficulties around the world. And in our lives, we create difficulties for ourselves because the demons reside within us. And we have to take responsibilities for those dualities, duplicities that exist in our lives. And we mustn't become satisfied with the why. We have to be asking the questions of how. And never be satisfied with whatever doubts you have. Arjun wasn't. He kept asking and asking and asking. And then he fell on his knees. Because then we surrender to the ultimate divine person who says, come to me. Drop everything. Drop all this speculation. Drop all these other religions and practices and philosophies. Come to me and I will take you home. And Krishna is our Lord who opens our eyes. He is the one who's showing us that things are happening around us and in our lives, but we have to take responsibilities because these things that are occurring are not somebody else's fault, but we're also duplicitous. We also play a role in the collaboration of the damage that we do in our lives and damage to society and to nature. Until we take responsibilities, we'll never be free of those responsibilities and to take some ownership. Until you own it and then you say, yes, I am responsible, you can't move on. We're equally duplicitous, we're equally culpable in the chaos that exists. So we have to train our minds and our hearts to become more sane, more Krishna conscious. So that way we can be taken to higher levels of humility and serenity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, you mentioned clutter. Yeah, this is what Krishna is saying, that there is so much clutter, so many philosophies and religions. That's why he says at the end, just surrender unto me. Don't waste your time. Knock in this door, that door. Just surrender unto me, and I'll take. Because there's nothing beyond me. I'll take care of it. And also, most religions they're telling us that God is great, God is great, God is great. But Bhagavad-Gita, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam shows us how God is great. Not just claiming that God is great, it proves how God is great. This is the beauty of our scriptures. Thank you, Prabhu. And Hina Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I think some very nice points have already been covered off. So I just had a couple of things to add. The initial verse was touched on how the Lord is the supreme controller, the cause of all causes. And if you think quite deeply about that, it means, what it means to me is that everything around us or around me right now has been custom created by the Lord. That's everything that's in front of us, the people in our life, the situations we might be facing, our successes, our problems. Everything's been carefully coordinated by Him, by the Lord, for our benefit. Nothing's by accident. Everything that we have is nothing by accident. And also you touched on the topic of free will as well in the verse, and that we only have our free will, and that free will should be employed or used in the service of Krishna and the devotees. Otherwise, any other desire is only going to entangle us further in the material world, which will ultimately just take us away from Krishna. So, and yeah, I think that's always one that's a work in progress. But those are my thoughts. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thanks so much. Praveen Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, yes. Yes, very nice. So from these verses, again, we see, like the first verse, different schools of thought, what causes human suffering, self, karma, superhuman powers, prakriti. But like in Bhagavad-Gita and Srila Prabhupada, I think it says in the introduction, Srila Prabhupada says, only one religion, one God, and one, Shastra, like Bhagavad-Gita. Even if you just read Bhagavad-Gita and act on the teachings of the Lord, Sarv Dharman Parityajya, Manmana Madbhakto, and then, the life will be so easy. And in the first verse, it mentioned about the verse 6.5, where Krishna says, mind, the controlled mind is our friend and uncontrolled mind is our enemy. So when we discipline ourselves, discipline the mind, we can engage in the devotional service. Otherwise, we are entangled in this material entanglement, sense gratification. So we have to discipline the mind and stay away from all the bad karmas. The karma, these are the things that are binding us, which we can clearly see. And people say, why me, why me? When the good things happen, then nobody says, why me? It's only when the bad things. But at the same time, we don't realize what we're doing, So even like our thoughts and actions, we have to make sure that they align, So, and we can learn from the cow and the bull that they are not blaming anyone. So that shows about the spiritual knowledge as well. So when you're spiritually enlightened, then you understand these things, and these things don't matter. And what was the other thing? There's so much happening. And yeah, also you also mentioned devotees, they never give up devotional service. So that is our true dharma. So we just have to do that, and we can be protected. And everything we understand is happening by the will of Lord. But again, at the same time, it's our actions as well. So when our actions are aligned with Krishna's laws, then everything will be fine. And you asked a question to Pundrikaksh Prabhu about people saying about the qualification, and you mentioned the mentor and guru, they should be qualified. But the thought came to my mind, yes, the disciples, they have to be qualified as well to have a guru. We should not just jump because everyone is doing it. So we have to make sure that we are qualified to have a qualified guru. So we are not in a position that we are not going to, we are in a position to follow the orders of the spiritual master 100%. So that's what I feel, yes, I've still got shortcomings, and that's why Krishna is making me wait. And I heard when I went to India, I was very fortunate to spend time with Radhanath Swami's disciples. And some of them are waiting for 20 years. So, Mataji told me, so-and-so is waiting for 10 years, so-so is waiting for 20 years. But this couple, they were very fortunate. She said they just got it, but they felt bad for the others. But I think it's again Krishna's mercy as well, So probably they deserved it, so that's why they've got it. And I myself feel yes, not maybe, but yeah, there are areas where I need to improve more. So then one day, maybe by your blessings, everyone's blessings, it will happen. So desire is there, but it's Krishna's mercy as well when he's going to fulfill it.
Thank you.
That's okay, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Ajay Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Important, yes, that these verses show us how it's important to avoid mental speculation, because as it's shown by the bull, say if you start thinking various philosophies, you get very easily confused, who's right, who's wrong. That is why you take to Parodharma, you take to Krishna consciousness. It simplifies things. That's the thing, we tend to sometimes go for the complicated solution, but the actual solution is the simple solution. It just takes shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. It makes things a lot easier. And there's also, nicely pointed out in the verse that what was happening was to glorify Maharaj Parikshit, this example to rulers of today, rulers of any day, how to deal with a difficult situation, how to establish what is correct, what is pious, what is appropriate for Dharma. And he did so by not only listening to the bull, but actually knowing himself what is correct. That's a problem sometimes, because we haven't understood what is correct. We then get confused and have to actually go through the situation. That's what happens when it comes to suffering in this world. The idea of taking shelter of Krishna, accepting any punishment as his, as our own, due to our own misdeeds. That can be difficult for a lot of people, especially when you are going through suffering yourself. To accept that actually I am to blame as such for what's happening to me. That is difficult to accept. Yet that doesn't mean that we allow, if somebody is causing us suffering, that we allow them to continue to cause suffering. That's not what it meant. It just means that in this world you will have to suffer a bit. You have to suffer a lot sometimes. That suffering though can be, when you apply it to your bhakti though, it can be very positive. It helps build your faith, helps build your strength, helps build your, if you have any queries, questions, doubts, that's a good time to actually go through it, because when you are suffering, then you are more likely to actually look for answers. When things are going well, you can get complacent. You can just think, okay, everything's good, I'll just keep going. Therefore, it is necessary then to suffer a bit from time to time. It's just that as long as we need to remember that, as long as we take shelter of Krishna, Krishna will negate some of that suffering. Or at the very least, we'll turn a negative, we'll find a positive from a bad situation. There's always a positive to be found. You might not feel like that at the time, but there's always a positive to be found. And even these verses kind of show that. It wouldn't think, bull standing on one leg, what's the positive in that? But there was a positive found. It was that, the conversation between Maharaj Parikshit and Dharma, understanding that Maharaj Parikshit is, a bona fide Rajarshi. That just shows, even in the worst situations, we can find positives. And that's why that's the power of bhakti in that sense, that whether we're happy or sad, thing will gain focus because we apply Shastra. So, if you are confused, Guru Sadhu Shastras, that's the importance of Guru there. Whether you feel like you're ready for a Guru, you feel like you've jumped in too early, okay, then whatever, just get on with it, really. You have to understand that the process is there. It's not just, you pick and choose. You have to understand, if I need to advance, I need better association. So whether you're taking this initiation or not, you still should associate with pure devotees, whether it's, listening to the classes, meeting them directly, to associate with them. And then, yes, you can rely on Krishna's mercy to figure out when you want to take initiation, when you want to push forward. But nevertheless, keep taking association. Good association is necessary, whether it be sannyasis, senior devotees, going to programs, retreats, whatever. It's always very good to take good association. You will always gain positive really wasn't positive for your bhakti. And that's, you see that with the Maharaj Krishna as well. Having good association is the way forward, and it happens with him with meeting Shukadeva Goswami. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for that. We're looking for that association that takes us back to Godhead. So I'll leave it at that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Radharani?
Hare Krishna, everyone. My pranams to all of you. I hope you're having a wonderful time in the session, drowning yourselves in the verses and your own realizations. Yes, the humility of Dharma is amazing, and how they are talking to the Lord and how they are expressing themselves. They say that pain is inevitable, yes, and the suffering is optional. There is good and bad. Why Krishna has made good and bad? Why didn't he just made only good, 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 and not only bad, bad, bad? Because it's a kind of lesson to us. It's a kind of it's a very simple realization. If you think about it, when a suffering is coming to us, you should be happy that your prarabdha or your past karmas are getting dissolved. But when you're getting good times, what is happening? Your good pious deeds are getting, your credits are getting dissolved. So an intelligent person, I was thinking today, would be very happy with the bad times, thinking that Krishna is nullifying my bad deeds in this life fast forward. And this is what happens to the devotees, especially when they get initiated, especially when they get Brahman initiation. They get the reactions very quickly. Why? Because I think Krishna is getting happier with them, how they are advancing. And you have to literally surrender, not in the saying, you have to surrender in your deeds. And when we are getting up each morning, we don't know what's in store for us or everyone else in the world today, but we have a faith. We get up with that faith. We say pranams to our Guru, we say pranams to the Dharti Ma, we say pranams to the Lord, because we've woken up, we still got the breaths in us. So as long as we have consciousness in us, we have to make sure that it becomes Krishna conscious. It doesn't become self-centered conscious. It doesn't becomes a conscious where we're just feeling pity for ourselves. We should be thanking for Krishna for everything he has provided. He has thought about everything for us. The thoughts, the desires which we even don't have in our minds today, which might be coming in tomorrow in our heads, Krishna has already provided for that also. So with these, I'll take leave of you and wish you a very happy weekend. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you all so much. And you have a wonderful weekend. We'll catch up again on Monday morning. Hare Krishna. Gantra Shri Bhagavad ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.